We are here with Daniel Sullivan, your favorite author of the Silverliner series of books, and you won't believe what this science fiction author has to say about the new He-Man Revelations.
He-Man, Masters of the Universe Revelations, which is actually not called He-Man. It's called Masters of the Universe Revelations. Is it Revelations or Revelation? But it's the Kevin Smith show, and they've only done the first part.
It is not plural, so...
Okay, so...
This is in regard to the first 5 episodes to date.
Yes.
So my first question is, starting from the front, where they first... with the first episodes, and hashtag spoilers if you haven't seen it, turn down the sound, find another video now.
Yeah, we're gonna spoil stuff.
There are things happen on Eternia, and Teela has just become captain of the guard, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, they did this whole, like a knighting ceremony, almost, and I thought that was done really well. I thought the giving the character her due, so to speak. They still had her dressed in the costume from the old show, the kind of I don't know, Esther Williams meets Xena.
I don't know what they're going for. Except they like the idea of a bodysuit type of thing.
Yeah.
So Adam shows up late and gets the wrath, and then he gets a telepathic message from the sorceress that Grayskull is under attack by Skeletor, after Skeletor has actually managed to impersonate in a changeling fashion He-Man. So, He-Man, Prince Adam, he lets everybody know that there's a problem and that Castle Grayskull needs to be defended, and everybody goes off to save the castle, including Cringer, and I believe Orko's already there as well, which was nice to see some familiar faces. The problem we end up having is that Skeletor manages to breach this garden / basement garden area, would you say?
Yeah, they have like there's like this lower level to Castle Grayskull, where apparently there's this Eternian council who have, it's kind of like, if you've ever seen, I don't remember the name of the episode, but it was the original series Star Trek, where you had these people who had become beings of energy. Certainly the story in the He-Man thing doesn't go the same way. These council people they exist in an energy form down below Castle Grayskull. And we're driving, so my apologies.
In case you couldn't tell by the trees and cars out the window. Go on.
So he's trying to get to the power that's below Castle Grayskull, and they managed to breach Grayskull, and they managed to get down below, and so then it turns into He-Man and Teela trying to defend the secrets of Castle Grayskull from the evil of Skeletor.
Well, no, we have to point out that they still have the same trio guarding the secret of Adam / He-Man, and that's Duncan, Orko, and the Sorceress. And of course, Cringer knows.
Yes.
So Man-at-Arms, Duncan, however you want to call him.
They imply, when everybody leaves the castle to go to join this battle, they imply that
Queen Marlena knows.
Queen Marlena knows, although that was never addressed in the show.
It was hinted at in the show as well.
I don't remember, but it's been long enough since I've watched the original show.
I do. I'd seen hints in the original that Marlena knew,
and
who he was. Anyway, so I believe Evil Lyn is there, Skeletor, Beastman, and they have 50 East. They have succeeded they've basically found the source of all magic in Eternia, and so Skeletor wants it all for himself, and a tree of some kind tries to stop Skeletor even, but it gets killed.
The tree was Moss Man, and he was voiced by Alan Oppenheimer,
who originally voiced Skeletor.
That was one of my I'm gonna say it was one of my pet peeves. But with the new show, they got Mark Hamill voices Skeletor, and I kind of feel like if you got the guy who originally voiced Skeletor,
signs for US 50 East, US 301 North.
Certainly Alan Oppenheimer was probably cheaper than Mark Hamill, and I don't think Mark Hamill necessarily did a better job. I think he was fine. I remember watching Batman the Animated Series when it aired, and Mark Hamill's voice as the Joker is so I feel that people use the word iconic overly much, but I feel that it's appropriate in this, and he's so associated with that, and his Skeletor was pretty much just his Joker voice, and it worked. He didn't do as much, of a Joker laugh, but it was his Joker voice that he used. And I kept waiting for him to say Batman, and but obviously he never does. But anyway, yes, it was Moss Man, and he was voiced by Alan Oppenheimer, who was the original Skeletor voice actor.
So anyway, there comes a point where the Sorceress advises He-Man that if he doesn't do something, then the whole universe is going to die.
Well, Skeletor, in the course of trying to break into this thing, what he does is he stabs. He-Man has to stop him from stealing this orb.
No, he cracks the orb. And so, anyway, He-Man decides to absorb the magic with his sword because otherwise the whole universe is going to just explode. The entire planet, the universe.
Yeah.
Well, so Teela's watching this, and she sees it, and he transforms back to Prince Adam, and then he turns into a dark mark on the ground, and that's it. And Teela realizes that Adam was He-Man, and she's really pissed that no one told her.
So there is another element here that is important. The Sword of Power divides into two swords.
Yes.
And so
Skeletor also seems to die because all that's left is his skeleton from his staff.
Is the headpiece of his staff. And
the skull, I meant to say.
Yeah, so Teela finds out that Adam is He-Man, and because in the course of absorbing all the power, he loses his He-Man form, and then right before he seemingly dies, and then so they go back, ultimately having succeeded in defending the castle. They return to the palace, and the world isn't destroyed, but I think magic is gone as a result of this.
Yep.
They return to the palace, and then Duncan reveals to the king that Prince Adam was He-Man all along, and the king is angry. He's like, my son is dead. He was He-Man, and you never told me. And he strips Duncan of his title of Man-at-Arms. Teela is the new Man-at-Arms now, and is ordered to
escort her father out.
To basically exile her father, which I thought was kind of an odd writing choice. And she gets angry, not because she's being told to exile her father. She doesn't get angry about that. She doesn't get angry specifically that Adam is dead. She's angry that she was never told. I kept waiting for Randor to say, well, I was never told either. And, for the Queen to say the same thing, but she basically literally says, everybody except me knew. And that's not true. His parents didn't know. or at least we're
Well,
never,
Marlena knew. She makes it obvious that she knew.
she makes it out of it, but
She
was
is
never,
so unsurprised.
She was never told.
No.
And so that's really where I was going with it, was she was never told. And but Tila becomes enraged about this, throws down her badges of office, and she leaves. She basically just says, "That's it. I'm done. I'm done with the palace. I'm done with the royals. I'm done with magic. I'm done with everything. I'm done. I'm out of here." And she leaves.
She becomes a hired sword and takes on D&D adventures, essentially.
Yeah, I think it goes. I think it's like 5 years.
I think something like that.
And you find her now. She has a. I felt like what they did with her in terms of changing her look was really good. I liked that she actually looked like somebody who would actually be a warrior, a mercenary, or somebody who was a fighter for a living, and somebody who had to. Yeah, I felt like it was the costume she should have been wearing all along, like from the very beginning. Her character, her new costume has this breastplate that actually looks like a real breastplate, like a knight or a man at arms or a soldier would have worn in a medieval type setting.
Right.
It actually covered her vitals.
Right.
In a meaningful way. Her hair, she had this whole thing where she kind of had her hair kind of like mine, where it was.
Well, she had like an 80s type short skater cut.
But it was shorn down on the sides.
Right.
And then.
But
it was longer on the top, and she had it hanging off to one side.
That was an 80s skater cut.
It's popular now with millennials.
Yes, but I'm just saying.
So, I liked what they did with her. I liked the way that what they did in that regard. She's now traveling around with I can't remember the character's name now. But
I don't know either.
It was, another warrior. She's I think she was a black woman who was kind of like a Xena Gabrielle thing. Or a Hercules Aeolus thing.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one. So.
Yeah, well, you know. And they're traveling around, and they end up ultimately they end up taking this job from this woman who's so obviously Eva Lynn that it's not even funny. And we find out that Eva Lynn is collecting magical artifacts and bringing them to the sorceress.
Well, what they did with Triclops was like totally interesting.
Yeah, Triclops is taking
that
over.
Was super neat.
Triclops takes over Snake Mountain, and he and Trapjaw have this techno cult.
Yeah.
And they're basically using nanotech to transform people into their minions.
Yes.
And it's kind of like a Thulsa Doom thing, which I thought was really cool. And they have to go take this artifact from Triclops. They take the artifact, and then they go back and they find out, it turns out that Eva Lynn is collecting these things for the sorceress. And eventually, they of course, then they figure out it's Eva Lynn for real. They go to find another thing, and they end up coming across Man-at-Arms, and Man-at-Arms is helping people to
resist this motherboard worshipping cult.
Yeah, to resist the motherboard worshipping cult.
And I'm not kidding, they call it motherboard.
Yeah. And, so their adventure takes them to try to retrieve the half of the sword. The other half of they want to reunite the two sword halves in order to bring magic back to Eternia. And they end up going into this.
They basically have to visit the land of the dead.
Yeah, they visit the land of the dead, and it's ruled over by this guy called Scareglow. And Scareglow was never in the show, but there was a toy, I think, and he was in the comic. And so it was a nice use of Scareglow. in Scareglow's realm, they basically all have to face their fears. And Evil Lynn and Orko kind of end up bonding a little bit over their respective plights. You find out, Orko elaborates. Back in the original series, Orko's magic, his spells never really quite work right. And one of the things they revealed in the original series was that Orko was from another dimension. And in that dimension, his magic worked correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And they did a little bit of retcon here, because in the original series, there's an episode where I think he gets to go to his original dimension, and he's very competent.
Mm-hmm.
But we find out in this that he was, I guess he was competent, but only minimally so, and he was kind of a loser in his original dimension too. We find out, which was a little bit of a change from what they had done before.
We need to wind down this.
And so they ultimately they make their way to He-Man Universe Valhalla, and we find that Adam is there, and there's this whole group of people who were kind of like He-Man of their day, and Adam is the latest. And Adam and Teela, wants to try to console Teela. He's kind of apologetic that she was never told, but eventually they make their way back to Eternia, and Adam gives up his place in Valhalla. And he's told that, hey, if you leave Valhalla, when you die again, you will just die, and you'll just become a part of the earth, so to speak. So essentially, by going back to help Teela and Evil Lynn, he is giving up his Valhalla-ness, and so he will never have this place at the heroes in the heroes' afterlife afterwards. And they go back. They reforge the sword while they're in Valhalla, and obviously we're glossing over a lot of things that happen along the way. But they return to Eternia, and they've got the reunited sword. He transforms into He-Man, and Evil Lynn, it turns out, is carrying something that has Skeletor's essence in it. Skeletor comes
His
back.
the skull from the staff.
The headpiece from the staff. And Skeletor reforms, and mid-transformation...
Mid-He-Man transformation.
Yeah, Adam's transforming back into He-Man, and mid-transformation, Skeletor stabs him in the back. And
that's where we're left.
So that's where we're left. Adam is bleeding out on the floor, and Skeletor has another transformation that is similar to what he did in the Masters of the Universe movie. He becomes a more powerful Skeletor, and he's
absorbing all the magic, and when he departs, Evil Lynn goes with him after this tenuous alliance.
Yeah. So, and that's where we're left. People are on the internet are going bananas because the first 5 episodes seem to be more about Teela and her transformation. And there's people are complaining that that Teela's now a lesbian, apparently. I didn't fully get that. I think that possibly
they say there's overtones with her companion.
I would say there were undertones rather than overtones. But had the characters been 2 men, I don't know that people would have that complaint.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still remember watching the Dukes of Hazzard, which was still airing when the original He-Man aired. And I still remember episodes where there was an episode where the General Lee was stolen because Bo and Luke were skinny dipping together with no girls.
Yep.
And nobody complained that there were homoerotic overtones between Bo and Luke. It was just something people in the South did, apparently. So, I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the new show. I'm waiting to see what they do in the next 5 episodes. And we're almost to our destination, as you can hear by the GPS, so we're going to bring this to a close here shortly. But Yeah, I thought it was good. I don't know what you thought, Linda.
I enjoyed it, but I mean, the cliffhanger was really dramatic for me, so I really hope they can pull it back and make something good out of it for the next 5 episodes.
I think they will, and that's what this science fiction author has to say. I thought it was good. I want to thank all of my subscribers, all of my viewers. It's been a little while since I've had some content. I enlisted my beautiful wife, Linda, to help me out with this while we're driving. And you can turn the camera around, give everyone, hey, it's Linda. It's beautiful Linda.
Hi, Mom.
So, the last announcements I have to make is I've recorded 5 episodes of the upcoming podcast. 3 more are going to get recorded this weekend. So that will be 8 episodes. And at that point, the podcast is going to be, put it up somewhere and have it hosted. Get the Patreon thing going. Better the Millstone, my last book. The sequel is through the beta reading stage, and I'm working with Burning Phoenix Covers. I have a booking with them in November, and we're aiming for a Christmas release. Cheryl Polikar is wrapping up a whip that she's working with now, and she'll be editing this probably in October. So there we are. We're coming up to our destination of Hemingway's. I'm going to be having a nice afternoon lunch out here on the Eastern Shore with my wife, and that's pretty much it. GPS is telling us to get off the road. I think it's time to wrap this up. Everybody, Thanks for watching.
Be a werewolf. Like and subscribe.
That's right. Click the bell for subscribing. Click the like button, and stay tuned for future content. Take it easy.